Hey, Chicago, what do you say? It's the CHGO Cubs Podcast. It is December 14th already. Luke Stuckmeyer, Ryan Herrera, Cody Delmendo back in the studio, and we got lots to talk about, even though the Cubs have done absolutely nothing today.
What are you talking about?
Or
they signed Jorge Alfaro.
Or the day before. Or the day before that. Oh, I'm sorry.
I spent 2 hours watching Jorge Alfaro highlights last night. Let me tell you, dude hits tanks, and every highlight reel I watch, he didn't create one out.
You know, I
mean, that would make sense. It wouldn't be a highlight reel if you did.
Ryan, you're supposed to play along with the joke, brother.
No.
Come on,
man. Don't be like the guys on Twitter.
No, it was.
Is it Shane Newbank's birthday? Happy birthday. If so, hello to everybody in the live YouTube chat. The best way to enjoy the CHGO experience is to subscribe to the CHGO Sports YouTube page. Make sure you thumbs up, 5-star reviews, all those great things. We appreciate it. Also, if you're listening on Spotify or wherever you might get your podcast form, we appreciate that as well. All right, here's kind of the rundown of what we're looking at today. Number one, have the Cubs extended an olive branch to Sammy Sosa? We hear he's going to be on he already is on the ballot now for the Cubs Hall of Fame, which will be revealed at Cubs Convention. That's one thing. Shohei Ohtani apparently never really considered the Cubs, something worth discussing. And we got an original score from our friend Danny Rocket. Made us a little holiday song. We're going to play that. And we also have put together a little list, if you will, highly anticipated. I know a lot of people have been buzzing about this for weeks now in all circles of life. We've put together our Cubs have missed out on this guy lineup.
Yeah.
Yes, everyone.
Cubs missed on this guy in left, this guy in center, this guy in right. We've put together a pretty good team of guys the Cubs let get away. Okay?
Glad I had my therapy session before we did this episode.
Yeah, that's going to be the last thing we do, so then we all leave and go straight to therapy right from here.
Yeah.
It's probably a good idea.
I'm probably going to need another therapy session after this. Yeah.
All right, so let's get to the stuff first with Sammy Sosa. Our guy Crawley, tweeted out today that Bruce Miles, legendary writer here in Chicago, covered the Cubs for a long time, has a book out with Jesse Rogers right now. He said, Sammy, for the first time, is on the ballot for the Cubs Hall of Fame. So I reached out to Bruce before the show, and I said, Bruce, explain this to me. Just give me the details. Is this he's on the first time because the Cubs are allowing him to be on the first time? He said, well, they've been going by decades, so they had to kind of wait to get up to Sammy's era. It's already been voted on, so anything we say here in the chat is not going to impact the vote. The votes have already been out, and the results will come out at Cubs Convention. That doesn't mean you can't put a little extra pressure on for however you might feel one way or another. Now, it's voted on. Bruce is one of the people on the committee. There's journalists from various places, some former journalists. I think there's some current ones on there. I know Bruce is on it. Carrie Muscat, right? I believe is a member of the panel. Yeah. And then there's living Cubs Hall of Famers that are voting on this. I'm not 100% sure if that means the guys that are already on the Cubs Hall of Fame or if they mean Major League Hall of Famers, which would be, Rhino, Andre Dawson, whoever, Fergie.
Yeah.
I know for sure those guys are a part of it, but I'm not sure if it now would include also Mark Grace, Sean Dunston,
Jose Cardinal.
Do they get a vote once they get in? I don't know. Or does it just Baseball Hall of Fame? But my big question was, Bruce, who put him on the ballot? Is it just because he's up? Any player or is it the committee that's saying, okay, Sammy needs to be on this ballot and we should vote on it? Said no, it's the Cubs. Okay.
Credit to the Cubs.
Well,
that's what I say. I think this is an olive branch, guys. I don't know how you want to interpret it.
Yeah.
The Cubs have basically said we don't want Sammy back. But this is the first step of an olive branch. This is, we're going to let you be voted on by your peers, your Cubs peers.
Is it though?
Unless they know the vote's going to go against him,
or are they just going the years, right?
Well, they didn't. They don't have to put Michael Barrett on the thing if they don't want to when it gets to it. They don't have to put whoever the player might be. Micah Hoffpower doesn't have to be on there.
I do remember I think it was last year's Cubs convention when someone was yelling at Tom Ricketts about Sammy Sosa, about being in the Cubs Hall of Fame. He said, he's not even on the ballot yet. Like, he literally said
right.
that. So
It's
Gary says the guys that just were voted in now get a vote as well. So
yeah.
Dunston and Grace would have a vote.
At Cubs convention, and I know they didn't have it for like 2 years because of the pandemic and whatever, but like every year that I've gone, every time that ownership had their panel, there was always a question about Sammy Sosa being welcome back. Every year.
Single year.
At least that I've been going. So
and there
I'm
will be
assuming
one
that
at Cubs
it's been
convention
even
now,
before
too.
that.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Even
well,
if he gets into the Cubs Hall of Fame, the question will still be, now that he's in the Cubs Hall of Fame, why did you when will you bring him back to the ballpark?
Right.
Yeah. No, I think mine was more specifically someone had actually said something about the Cubs Hall of Fame, and he's like, he's not even on the ballot yet. So that's why I was like, huh, so there's a ballot. And yet was the key word.
Yet.
He's not even on the ballot
He's on.
yet. I think that's what it was. So I'm like, huh.
Yeah.
But now I guess we are seeing that.
What is this,
Sammy's
like 25 years after 1998?
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense. I mean, everyone knows my take on this. Like, he should.
You're pro steroids.
Absolutely.
Not
they
that
should be
been,
bringing
not
steroids
that it's been
back.
proven that he did them.
Exactly.
For legal purposes.
It definitely saved baseball, and I'll believe that until the day I die. Actually, when I'm in my grave, I'll still believe it. But, I mean, the Cubs will get a lot of, they'll get a lot of support if it happens. If he's voted in, I think they'll get a lot of support, at least from the part of the fan base that's around me and Ryan's age.
Yeah.
No doubt. Now, the older people, they might be pissed off about it.
Yeah, I think there'll be some backlash, too.
There will definitely be backlash because there are people who like him and people who don't. But you cannot tell the story of the Chicago Cubs franchise.
That's right.
Without Sammy Sosa, man. It's like the same way that I think about baseball, the Hall of Fame in general. That's why Barry Bonds should be in the Hall of Fame, and all these other dudes that kept getting passed down because of being linked to steroids. You can't tell the story of the game without those guys, and you definitely can't tell the story of the Chicago Cubs without Sammy Sosa. It's a no-brainer to me. It's long past due, and I'm sorry, I'm tired of like all the guys from like my era when I was a kid just keep getting passed over.
Well, I see, guys like Corey M are in the live chat saying, Sammy's the reason I'm a Cubs fan today. Yeah. And you do hear a lot of that. And I would say this about Sammy. First of all, it's okay to forgive somebody if he did something wrong. It's okay.
I'm not sitting here saying he didn't do anything wrong.
Right. It's and I think that's okay. And it's not like building a statue of shoeless Joe Jackson throwing the World Series if you're a White Sox player. And it's also not one guy who may have cheated on baseball. Mm-hmm. Lots of guys were cheating in that era. That doesn't make it right. And I still understand if Ryan Sandberg and Andre Dawson and his former teammates would say, we did it the right way. We don't think Sammy should be part of this, especially the Baseball Hall of Fame. I'm okay with that. This is a different thing. This is the Cubs Hall of Fame. Is Sammy Sosa part of the Cubs Hall of Fame? Yes. Whether he was a perfect version of what we want a baseball player to be or not, Sammy Sosa, like you said, Cody, is absolutely a part of the Cubs Hall of Fame. Yeah. So I think he has a better chance now that I know Dunston and Grace and some of these guys are in. Because you know what? Mark Grace got in, and Mark Grace isn't a saint either. Mm-hmm. Mark Grace has made mistakes in his life. We're willing to forgive those mistakes off the field and say, yes, but you're still Mark Grace, and we still cheered for you in the stands, in the sunny bleachers, and you still made us go crazy at ball games. So why can't we forgive Sammy? I think the fans have. I hope this committee does as well.
Yeah. Someone said in the chat, like, oh, Carter Hawkins, the fake Carter Hawkins.
He says he's real.
Well, it's like Cubs didn't mind cashing in all the ticket sales Sammy brought in. I see that point. Like, they're not going to give back the money for the years that Sammy Sosa was helping them sell out Wrigley Field. So
all you got to do is look at like their attendance.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they're not going to
right?
give back all the money they made from tickets and concessions from all those years that Sammy was
attendance
putting up home run
really
numbers,
spiked after, especially after 1998.
I also think recognizing that Sammy was a show, even if there was cork, there were steroids, we're all not stupid, all of that stuff. I still think most of us are smart enough to sit back and look at the list of when they say Cubs Hall of Famers and say, okay, Ryan Sandberg did it clean. Sammy didn't, but we still loved him. He still had flaws, but we loved him. Yeah. And that's okay. And then hopefully if he gets in, Sammy then will offer some sort of apology to smooth things over completely. I don't think he will, but hopefully he's grown up enough. If we've grown up enough to be like, okay, we're moving on, like,
or at least just for the way he left. Like even if it's walking out, like
which he may have been thrown under the bus on.
I think at minimum, like that's like
100%.
That's an apology that people would accept.
If I hurt the integrity of the game some way, I'm sorry.
Right.
It wouldn't be that hard for him to do
Another way I kind of look at it is that, McGuire is in the Cardinals Hall of Fame, and Barry Bonds, I'm pretty sure, is part of like the Giants Hall of Fame too. So that this is it. I'm with you, Luke, when it comes to like the entire baseball Hall of Fame. Like as much as I still believe he deserves to be in there, like
I just think give that era their own wing.
Sure,
and you know why? Because if you played in that era where it was just rampant, some of it's guilty by association. You let it go on around you without waving the red flag and being like, what's going on here?
Right. Well, baseball definitely like benefited from all those guys.
Yeah,
he definitely did. But what I was saying though is that the fact that those franchises, despite like Barry Bonds, like I remember when I was a kid, and every time he went on to a road game, hell, I remember him coming to Wrigley Field and people throwing syringes on the field. All right,
seems dangerous.
But I'm just saying, like, and people today, as time has passed, recognize that he is one of the greatest players in all time in baseball. But my point is that the Giants still make him, like, they acknowledge him, all these things, and like that's what the Cubs should, at the very least, should be doing with Sammy Sosa. So I hope the people who voted, the journalists, the guys who, like the former players that are on the committee, I hope they put their, in my opinion, would be selfishness to the side and think about the organization and the fan base. Because, again, you just cannot tell the story of the Cubs franchise without this guy.
It's a different argument than the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Absolutely.
And I totally get that Rhino and Hawk and some of these guys probably don't like Sammy that much. Guys that really had to be around him a lot probably don't like Sammy very much. And maybe you can make the argument whether he deserves to be in the Baseball Hall of Fame or not. I think the criteria for the Cubs Hall of Fame should be slightly different. It should be more fan-oriented than And Ed Hardig, the historian who covers, you want to find out a stat about Cubs baseball, Ed Hardig will let you know. Ed does all the research prior to the vote, letting the voters have the most information. I don't think you're going to be able to look at the numbers and say he's not. So hopefully they also consider the fan part of it as well.
Yeah. I think that's part of it for sure. When it's not the National Baseball Hall of Fame, it's like a franchise's Hall of Fame. I think the fans deserve like a not a vote, but like a say. And like if the Cubs Hall of Fame should be like let's give the fans something to appreciate about this franchise.
Sure.
Robbie wants him back. I'm curious if there's anybody in the chat that really has a strong stance on don't want him near the ballpark.
I think Godfather said no steroid users.
No steroid users in the Cubs Hall of Fame.
I think he said
but DUIs are okay?
I guess DUIs are okay. Yeah.
Right? I mean, people may make mistakes.
Yeah.
One is more likely to hurt another person than cheating in baseball is.
Yeah.
I like Sosa. He's a liar. No Hall of Fame.
There you go.
Godfather. Cubs are not.
We have a super chat, it looks like.
We do.
Oh, we do?
We do, according to what I see.
Fernando.
$1.99. It was just a ploy to distract from not getting players.
Sure.
I'm surprised that's not Godfather saying
the Cubs putting him on the list. I do think, I'll be honest with you, if you would have asked me prior to finding out this information that he was going to be on the ballot this year and they would vote on it, if I had to guess whether or not he was going to be on the ballot, I probably would have said no, because the Cubs stance, the Ricketts stance, has been very clear. Mm-hmm. Nope, we talked to people. We don't want him around the ballpark. He's done things that we don't approve of, and yada, 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 until Sammy apologizes, right? That's what Tom Ricketts says every time. But the backlash they would have gotten if they started to go through this era and Sammy wasn't even allowed to be voted on, this way at least, if he's voted no, they can say, it's an independent committee. we allowed Sammy to be voted on by his peers, his Cubs peers, and journalists that covered him. They were the ones that didn't want him, which is still possible.
Yeah, for sure.
So it might be the easy way out, but I still am glad that they gave the opportunity for somebody to think about it. Sean says they're kind of hypocritical as it is. Anson out for being a terrible racist, but Grace while being a wino and drinking and driving.
I don't know what that means.
Not my words, Sean's words.
He also did that thing on Marquee. That's why he's basically not on Marquee anymore.
Will they
Remember when he said about his ex-wife or something
Yes,
like that?
there were a few things.
Yeah.
I started a poll on YouTube right now asking everyone if Sammy Sosa should be a Cub again. And so I'm going to give it a little more time, but right now it's 87% yes and 17% no. And there's about 23 votes. So
Well, when that gets up to like
we got
200,000 votes
115. Yeah.
200,000.
by the end of this show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Barb says he got permission to leave early in 2004. Yeah, there's a lot of debate on how that whole thing went down, but listen,
Again,
there's
I'm not sitting here saying that he, like, even as a teammate, all that. I'm not saying he was perfect, but someone said that to me on Twitter today, and I replied back with, well, Michael Jordan wasn't a great teammate either.
Sure.
You know what? Everyone in this city looks at him as the greatest basketball player to ever live, the greatest player to ever come into this city. He made his own documentary and basically stated that he wasn't the greatest teammate in the world. So the whole teammate stuff or whatever, miss me with that, bro. I don't care
at all.
He was a great baseball player.
I care a little bit, but not enough to be like, yeah, he's not a member of the Cubs Hall of Fame. I personally think his flag should be up on a pole.
You do not think it should?
I do.
Be?
I do.
Okay.
I think he should be on one of the foul poles.
Yeah.
I know it's only Hall of Famers and Jack Robinson.
Yeah.
If it's not there, then it should be on one of the rooftops with an accomplishment, right?
Something like that, yeah.
Galvin, by the way, Galvin316 says Luke Stuckmeyer for Cubs Hall of Fame. When are you on the ballot?
Well, probably a long time from now. Still an active player.
When they've run out of candidates.
Yeah, 100%. When they can't find anybody else to put in, when the owner of Sluggers has been inducted.
Yeah,
Beth Murphy too.
Well, yeah, she'd be.
Well, this guy was the sideline reporter for.
He did questions with Bobby Scales for a couple years.
He was on Beer Money. Let's get him.
On Beer Money.
Let's get him in there.
Ryan, you want to tell us about the Midtown Athletic Club? Because, listen, if you're going to see Sammy Sosa anywhere, this is a highbrow place. If Sammy comes into town, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes and works out at Midtown Athletic Club.
Yeah, and you asked,
who's who?
You asked, do I want to? Of course I want to talk about Midtown Athletic Club because Midtown Athletic Club is the nicest fitness club I've ever been to. Let me tell you about Midtown's got 4 Chicagoland locations in Palatine in the northwest suburbs, Bannockburn in the North Shore, Willowbrook in the southwest burbs, and Midtown Athletic Club and Hotel in the middle of Bucktown and Lincoln Park. Midtown Palatine, which is Luke's neck of the woods up in the northwest burbs. Midtown Palatine has launched a multi-million-dollar transformation of the club, which will be complete in early 2024. Listeners can lock in favorable rates if they join before the end of the year. There's something at the clubs for everyone. If you're single like me, if you got a family and kids like Luke, if you're looking to make lifestyle changes or holistic wellness, there's something at the clubs for everyone. Again, I said it already, Midtown Chicago, the nicest fitness club I've ever been to. Cody can attest. It was incredible. It was 6 floors of just awesomeness.
You can legit get married there if you want to.
Yeah, and if you go on our CHGO Sports Instagram, you get a little look at all the things we got to do at Midtown a couple weeks back. A little content there. But let me tell you about some of the cool club features. They got super luxe locker rooms with wet and dry saunas and premium amenities, amazing outdoor and indoor pools and hot tubs, a collection of boutique fitness studios with more than 100 classes per week included in the membership, and they're not just gym quality. The spaces are boutique quality. Listen up, Carm. They also got the best tennis courts and programming in the sport. Carm said, damn right they do.
Let him work on that backhand that I saw a video of.
Midtown has indoor and outdoor tennis, pickleball, and paddle tennis courts. USTA, professional quality all the way. So head over to midtown.com/CHGO to find out more and to tour the Midtown Athletic Club nearest you.
Again, I've never played pickleball. Somebody in the Barb's in the chat saying pickleball. I think the three of us, if we could get Carm and get in for free, of course, if we could have a little tournament, maybe a little pickleball action, we could.
I used to play back in high school.
See, now
like
you've played, so there's somebody with experience. Now, Carm doesn't play it because he thinks it's a lesser
I need to get
sport.
back into the game because it's
beneath
growing
him,
so
if you will.
much. But
Yeah, I used to play like pickleball in like gym class back in the day.
That's what we did. Like that's the only reason I even knew
Yeah.
what the game was. Whenever people started like talking about it in
Now
the
it's
last year or
huge.
two. Yeah.
Somebody in the chat also asked, who's going to get into the Cubs Hall of Fame first, me or Cap? And I mean, come on. First of all, that's laughable. We know Cap would be. And second of all, we also know Cap would be handing out free Malnati's gift cards to make sure he was first.
Oh, absolutely. That or a free TV.
Yeah, vote. Here's a TV and a coupon to Apt and also some Malnati's pizzas. But he wouldn't need that because he's a man of the people. Let me tell you, it's getting easier for businesses to switch to electric vehicles, something we can all get behind for the health of the planet and for the well-being of all of us who share it, Cody.
Yeah, the electric grid is evolving to meet your cleaner energy needs as we all move with confidence toward an electric tomorrow. Whether you have one delivery van or a whole fleet of shipping trucks, ComEd can help guide you to make the changes that make sense.
Wow, that's interesting, Cody. So what should business owners do in this situation?
Well, if you're a business owner, you should definitely go to ComEd.com/clean to learn more about the resources, fleet rebates, and infrastructure incentives available to help businesses go electric. If you own a business, don't wait, Luke. Start making your plan today to switch to electric vehicles. Good for business, good for the planet, good for all of us. Go to ComEd.com/clean.
Sorry, I was envisioning Cap's Hall of Fame speech. Did you say ComEd.com/clean?
Yes, go now and see how going electric connects us to a better way of doing business and a better future for generations to come, while also looking at or thinking about Cap's Hall of Fame speech.
Yeah, it would end with something like, I'm a Hall of Famer. Take that.
Yes.
Take that.
Take that.
Is this a good time for the Danny Rocket song? I think it would be, right?
Yes.
It was pretty good. He texted it to me today because he was originally supposed to come into studio this week, but schedules and everything
messy,
things got messy. So and I told him he could come in next week, and it's kind of up in the air because he's it's the holiday season. Not sure.
He's got a lot of requests.
And the main reason he wanted to come in was A, he wrote us a song that we're about to play, and B, he wanted to promote the Cubs Christmas caroling that they do in Wrigleyville like every.
Oh wait, that's coming up?
Yeah, it's like Saturday, 5 p.m.
I'm going. I think I'm going this Sunday. Is there a show this Sunday?
No, it's like something that like Cubs fans go around. They sing these.
He brings his guitar and they sing songs around Wrigley.
And it's like so. Apparently, they're meeting at Output in Wrigleyville at 5 p.m. That's what he told me. And yeah, on Saturday, December 16th, meeting at Output.
Okay.
They're calling it Cubs Caroling. And
Cubs Caroling.
Okay.
Like, I remember last year, they kind of went viral because they came up with a song about Carlos Correa.
Oh, yeah.
It was either last year or was it 2 years ago?
It was the first time around with Correa.
They do it like every year.
Yeah.
So if you're in Wrigley.
Last year was just us in a Sammy suit.
They're very, they're very welcoming people. Danny's a great dude. I'm sure Crawley will be there and anyone else that loves the Cubs. So, I just told him I'd bring that up, and also the song is awesome. I've already heard it.
If I didn't have a family Christmas party that day, we could have done our CHGO Goes to Christmas Kindle or whatever they call it, and we could have all shown up and gone caroling together. We could have made it a group event.
Could have rode the carousel again.
That's right. So next year, I say we coordinate our visit to Wrigley's Winter Wonderland. Is that what it's called?
Yep.
Along with the caroling, and then we combine groups. We do a little
There you go.
community outreach together.
I like that.
Anyways, because we're not, Danny wrote this song for us, and here you go, the great Danny Rocket, known as San Ranto.
This one goes out to the entire crew at CHGO. Happy Christmas. CHGO, man, talking sports in Chicago. It's a real good time here with Luke and Ryan and Cody Delmendo. CHGO, man, doing podcasts every day. Even when the Cubs don't do anything, they still have a lot to say. Cody and Luke are drinking beer out in crowd. While Ryan's in the locker room seeing players wearing towels. CHGO, man, what a crazy family. So credit to you, Ryan and Luke, Cody, Brendan, and Corey. Chuggity chug chug, chuggity chug chug, it's CHGO. Chuggity chug chug, chuggity chug chug, I still call it Chuggo. Download and stream and join the team, or just catch us at Wrigley. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Wow. Can the man do music or what?
It was funny, and he still
nice.
managed to joke on us at the same time.
Carm's mad?
Why? Because Carmen sings.
I mean,
Sounds about right.
Sounds about right.
to say that he's better than Carm singing is like saying Tom Brady is better than Tyson Bagent.
There you go.
Yeah.
There's a gap.
No, he wasn't wrong about the towel thing. That's
There are guys in towels.
throughout the
There
locker
are guys
room.
in towels.
Yep. That's the locker room for you.
I give him respect for, making all the jokes, also joking about the Chuggo thing that we hear all the time
All
from
the time,
everyone,
yeah.
and still making it funny enough for us all to like it. So credit to him.
Jim says this is solid. I mean, all of his songs are solid.
He's a great parody
Is it
writer.
But I still
one
need-
he's written for us.
That's the
second
second
or third.
It's at least our second,
It's
but
at
I
least the
still
second.
want the one at the end of the season. I want him to go back and write us one. Counting Crows, It's a Long December, which it has been. He could just sing that normally, and it's been a long December. It's a long September because September took forever and the Cubs were so bad.
So last weekend, I couldn't go because I was in Tennessee for the Illinois-Tennessee game, but the Club
Credit to you.
400 had, credit to me. Club 400 had one of their events. It had Mike Tachman there. And I was going to go if I would have been here
Yeah.
because, Stu actually reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to come.
Show
And
up
I
with
told
our
him
shirt.
that-
Present him our shirt.
Right.
Yep.
And then, obviously, I didn't because I
We're
had this
talking
trip
about
planned.
Midtown Athletic Club.
But
Midtown Athletic Club. Yeah, not
Danny
too far
actually
away.
wrote a song titled Summer of Tachman or whatever, and obviously gave me credit and everything. But that's a good one too. So
So he talks about how nothing has happened yet, and the Cubs haven't signed anybody. One of the people he didn't sign, of course, was Shohei Ohtani. And then Tom Verducci put out yesterday that, we had already heard that the Cubs were not in the top three.
right,
Verducci basically says he didn't even really consider the Cubs.
Yeah.
yeah. The Cubs were serious, but he wasn't serious about the Cubs.
Yeah. Well, then, as Gary has pointed out a few times in the chat,
Yes, once or twice.
I guess Bruce Levine on 670 this morning, on the Cubs' failed pursuit of Shohei Ohtani. They had a serious bid that they were making. Unfortunately, he wasn't serious about the Cubs, which I guess checks out with what Verducci had said.
So he used the Cubs.
It seems that way.
Great player,
So-
don't like
that
him
way.
anymore.
I mean, it seems that way, and
No.
going into the offseason, we expected the Dodgers to be that was the favorite, right? That was the odds-on favorite to land Shohei Ohtani. So I don't know, if, the dream or whatever, made it or the speculation or whatever made it feel more real. But it's he was always going to the Dodgers. Everyone expected that.
And with that said, can I please tell you where my new anchor is from now?
Oh yes.
So I'm no longer mad at the Dodgers or Ohtani or whatever.
For the
I
tricky deal.
Yeah. I'm not even mad about that. I think if you're a Cubs fan and you're still mad at Ohtani and the Dodgers, then I think you're being a little just mad to be mad. And you know what? I've been there before. I don't blame you in some aspects, but for me,
Where's your anger at now?
my anger is now shifted to Greg Braggs Jr.
Oh, wait a minute.
Because Greg Braggs Jr., not only did he come on our podcast whenever everyone was out or whatever that one night and went on that 3-minute Ohtani rant about how he needs to come to the Cubs and why he should come to the Cubs and all this stuff. Despite that, I still went into the offseason with small hope, very little hope about Ohtani coming to the Cubs. And what does Greg Braggs Jr. do?
Reel Jim.
He reels me, and he slung that the
lure
reel
out
out
there, the
and he
Ohtani
hooked
lure.
me, and he he just started reeling me in because of all these speculation, and he'd come in the office, he'd be like, where are you at on Cubs getting Ohtani? It better be at least 80%, blah, 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 this, blah, 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 that. And I'm like, no, I'm not getting my hopes up. He's like, Cody, you have to. That's what we do here. You have to get your hope up. And I'm like, no, Braggs, I'm not going to do it. And he did it enough, so many more times that I then started to believe just because he wouldn't shut up about it. So
he tried to, he built your hope up brick by brick.
He did.
Your false hope brick by brick.
Yep. So I hope you're watching, Greg Braggs Jr. I love you, but I hate you.
So you prefer my method where this season I will be sitting with a water bottle and spraying you with it every time you get overexcited about nothing.
Yes.
Yes. Well, that's what you're going to get.
Yes.
The water bottle. So it's mostly Bragg's fault. We can all agree on that. Man, here's the deal. Are you mad if he used the Cubs? And part two of the question is, can I play, and I don't want to say devil's advocate, pessimist, if you will. I wonder where are all these reports? These are not coming from Ohtani. Certainly Ohtani's not saying, yeah, I used the Cubs and I used these other teams and I wasn't even serious. I would assume Bruce is getting this information and Verducci's getting this information from the Cubs side. Is this possibly just a little redirection from the Cubs to say, well, we didn't miss out on him. He used us. We had a good offer. Trust me, we had a good offer. Because currently, half of the fan base, based on some of our polls, is going, why weren't you in on this deferred $700 million?
Yeah.
Right?
Which, what I said was, like, if the report that had come out that he had offered the same thing to every team, and I look at it, I'm like, you can't, this deal where it's really more real value-wise or whatever, a $460 million 10-year deal, you can't convince me Jed Hoyer wouldn't have been up for that deal. You can't convince me that Jed Hoyer would have said, nah, not really. Like, you can't convince me he would not have said yes if Ohtani had presented that to him. So, to me, it feels like some similar structure to this deal was in place.
I'd love to know what the deal was.
But
Did they White Sox it, though?
But maybe more money. Maybe it would have costed, but it may have costed the Cubs more money even to get a deal like that signed with the similar structure. Or it was never really a real offer from Ohtani's side either, you know? Yeah. If we're believing the reports from Tom Verducci and Bruce Levine. Like, even if he had presented a similar structure, was it ever a real offer from their side?
In order for the Cubs to even be semi-serious, based on what the final number was, to me, their number would have had to have been in the 600s with a similar, like you would have had to have been like 650 or something like that to even be close if another team was offering 700. Did they White Sox this by saying, well, we'll give you 300 and one player? Like, did they really make him an offer? Or was he always just kind of throwing team names out there? I don't know. I believe he was never, I think it makes sense that he was never really interested in the Cubs.
Yeah, I think it's more him not being interested in the Cubs than the Cubs not being interested, because the Cubs, they literally wouldn't speak on the Ohtani thing because Ohtani didn't want anyone to speak about it. I honestly, obviously, at the end of the day, it didn't really matter, but it felt like the Cubs did everything they could to try and lure him to Wrigley Field. And I think in that podcast that Verducci did, or maybe it was just what Bruce was told, but Bruce even said that like Ohtani never even came to Wrigley. You know what I mean? Like,
we know the Dodgers met with him.
Right.
They told us multiple times, and then they signed him.
Yeah. I'm not, again, like I said when we first started the segment, like, I'm done being mad at Ohtani. I'm done being mad at the Dodgers, even though I'm going to definitely be rooting against them as much as humanly possible for the next 10 years. I think this is a full case of he just wanted to go to the Dodgers.
Yeah.
What
he
a
wanted
waste
to go to
of
the
money.
Dodgers, but he wanted to, get a lot of money.
And he duped us at CHGO. We sent you all the way to Japan looking for him. You didn't find him, but we sent you all the way over there. That wasn't a cheap flight.
I know. We went all the way to Nashville for the winter meetings.
In the baggage.
We invested a lot of money in trying to get manifesting Ohtani to the Cubs,
below.
man. I don't think we'll ever try to manifest something more than we did with Ohtani. This shit's gonna it's scarred me. I can never believe in the Cubs getting anyone ever again.
Should we admit that now that we did send you, and that, like as Ryan said, should we admit the dog crate on Spirit Airlines? We sent you to Japan looking for Ohtani.
And don't let the facts get in the way of a
How
good
tough
story.
was the flight?
Anyway, like a wooden crate. We had to hammer.
We crate, and all of a sudden they opened up the crate in Japan, and Cody popped out. A pair of Jordans kicked through the hole. They were like,
takes off running.
This box is moving.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, 2 pairs of Jordans came flying through the top. By the way, he's so humble. He's the most humble person I know. Walks in here with new Jordans. Here they are. He just throws them up. And by the way, that looks that does look like a fresh sweatshirt too. I don't know that I've seen that. That seems pretty new.
Shout out to Obvious Shirts. I got this on Black Friday.
These aren't new, but I think they're nice. Oh, here we go. Oh.
There you go.
Wow, you guys kind of match.
There you go.
Yeah.
Credit to us. These would be great to wear to Wrigley in next summer. Can't wait. So anyway, I'm not.
You're okay.
You're just mad at Braggs.
I'm mad at Braggs for him
Making
getting me
you
up because for 2 years I spent talking myself off this. I knew that it was never. I knew it was never going to really happen. And then Braggs he's like, it's gonna happen. I feel it. I feel it in my soul that it's gonna happen. And he just reeled me in with him. It's like, dude, I don't have to convince him to not get up about the Bears these last 3 weeks to maybe make the playoffs, but maybe just to get back at him and be like, oh, Braggs, the Bears are making the playoffs. They're winning out. They're going to go to Green Bay and they're going to win. Just to maybe get back at him a little bit, even though I'm actually hoping that happens.
Hey, Soto will be a free agent next year.
We'll see.
Do not. I'm not.
Throw that lure back in the water, Cody. The only way to catch a fish is
the
keep
spray
fishing.
bottle, Luke. Get the spray bottle. Get the spray bottle. I mean,
I would never wear Crocs, Ryan. Never.
No, absolutely not.
Allbirds, yes. Crocs, no.
Are those Allbirds?
These are all dirty Allbirds.
Speaking of Soto, though, have you guys read any of the quotes he's had since becoming a Yankee?
No, did he say he wanted to be a Cub?
No, it sounds like I'm going to enjoy it while I'm here.
Yeah.
While I'm here, but baseball's better in the Ivy. Well, I don't know if that's an exact quote.
It seems like it's going to be a roller coaster ride with the Yankees and him for this one season. If they're able to keep him around, which the Yankees are the Yankees, they'll pay whatever they have to.
Well,
they don't care. But
he's Boris, right? He's a Boris.
Yeah,
client,
I think he's definitely going into
the expectation
offseason.
He's going to be a free agent,
right? But it was a massive risk for them to make, and that's why whenever I said if the Cubs were to trade for him, he's the only guy that I would have been okay if they moved Morel for, but it didn't happen, and it is I'm fine with it. I'm actually not nearly as upset about missing out on Soto as I was about Ohtani.
You think Bellinger's using the Cubs? Because John Heyman says he still thinks a pretty good chance the Cubs are in on that.
Yeah, I don't think
he is. I don't
think he would based on how much he enjoyed playing for the Cubs.
That's the thing is he really did. I think talking to him, especially at the end of the season, in Milwaukee, when talking about how much he enjoyed his time here, and I think he was very genuine in that. They gave him obviously they paid him a lot of money, but they gave him a shot to kind of revive his career a little bit. They gave him what he wanted, right? Because last year Boris had said that they weren't really looking for a multi-year deal, even though they had gotten some. It was they wanted that 1 year pillow contract and then go back out to free agency. So the Cubs gave him what he wanted, gave him a good environment to, come back into his own, and obviously gave him it was one of the places where he had the runway to just play every single day and figure himself out after a couple of years of just not being Cody Bellinger. So I do think he was genuine when he said he enjoyed his time, at Wrigley Field in front of Cubs fans and the Cubs organization. But, whether that leads to him being a Cub again or not, I do think he's genuine saying that he enjoyed being a Cub for the year.
It's come down to them or the Blue Jays, and then probably some mystery team.
Giants?
Yeah, maybe the Giants, maybe the Padres, maybe the Dodgers even, just because, I don't know. But, I think it's between the Cubs and the Blue Jays, mostly. So they're in a standoff like The Office. Michael Scott Andy Bernard and Dwight being the random team. You know?
Oh, wait a minute. Chef Kevin on there says the Cubs are going to have trouble, luring top free agents because most of them want to win. The Cubs don't win. As far as I know, the Cubs won a World Series more recently than the Yankees.
That's true.
It's true.
No?
It's true.
It's true.
It says it right there.
More recently than the Giants?
Yeah.
More recently than the Padres?
Yeah.
More recently than the Brewers? Oh, they've never won. My bad.
More recently than the Cardinals?
More recently than the Cardinals?
Yep.
More recently than the Blue Jays?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Has nothing to do with
Theory
that.
debunked.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't mean to do that.
If
By the way,
if you're one of the people that don't believe in the 2020 World Series, too, you can say the Dodgers as
that's
well.
correct, because that was an asterisk.
There is an
If
asterisk.
you want to call it a Mickey Mouse ring.
I do. There is not do I want it. I do.
I am distracted slightly, I will admit, by Cody's shoes. The blue is so perfect on these shoes. If it's not the original ones, the ones that I
They're
had
the
and sold,
velvet ones too.
this would be my favorite pair of Jordans that he has.
I appreciate
It's the
it.
blue laces. Don't ever go black laces.
Well, I got blue and
Oh, I
black.
didn't even
I know you
notice
have black.
that.
Don't go black laces. The blue laces
look better, in my opinion.
Okay. So
It's
I should
the
go home and
sharpness-
switch them out?
It's the
think I agree,
sharpness of the
Stuckey.
blue. I would go all blue.
Okay. All right. Well,
I'm looking at the two shoes, and we got one in each. If you want to vote online on this, I would say blue laces over black laces on this. Not that the black doesn't look good.
yeah.
It does, but it gives a little extra pop with the blue lace. That might be your best pair. How many do you have now?
I got
70?
two shoe rack.
70,
I got
75?
two shoe rack fulls, man. I've ran out of space. I can't buy any more shoes.
Have you ever thrown out a pair of Jordans?
No.
Never.
Never.
Even what if you wear it? What if your toe finally jabs through the top of one of those?
Well,
get
that's never
stitched up.
happened.
But should it happen, will you retire them? Do you burn them like an American flag type thing?
No.
Oh.
No. I don't know what I would do, to be honest with
Well,
you.
we're gonna find out someday. Hey guys, our partner Ray Chevrolet is having their biggest sale of the year right now. Make your way to Ray Chevrolet on Route 12 in Fox Lake to join in on these savings for their model year end sales event. As one of the top-selling Chevy dealers in the Midwest, you'll always be able to shop one of Chicagoland's largest Chevy inventories, but right now, they're trying to make room for incoming 2024 models, so all their current inventory must go. Plus, you can find the perfect tailgate vehicle at Ray Chevy because they have over 100 new Silverados in stock, and that's not all. Get 0% financing with $0 down and 0 payments until spring 2024, or save over $3,000 on a new Chevy Blazer, $4,000 on an Equinox, and over $10,000 on a Silverado. And to top it all off, they're pricing over 125 vehicles under $20,000. Seriously, guys. Pricing can't get more affordable than that. And I know everybody loves the word free, and that's why this month at Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake, you get a free oil change. All you need to do is mention CHGO when scheduling your oil change online or on the phone. You better hurry, though. This exclusive offer ends New Year's Eve, December 31st, 2023. So visit Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake or raychevrolet.com to get your model year-end savings. They're serving the community since 1963. Find new roads. The only thing better than a Silverado is a Silverado with the back open and a varsity cooler full of Goose Island in the back, Cody.
Oh, buddy. Nothing like it. If you need the perfect bag for game day, Varsity Coolers will have your set or will have you set game day and beyond with the best portable cooler and weekender duffel bag around, folks. It's around here in this office somewhere. I know we have like a Bears
over
related
there.
one. Yeah.
Hogue threw it at Carm the other day.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
actually like my favorite ad that the Bears guys read because they're always just like
There it is.
trolling each other with it.
Very nice.
I mean, look at
at
this
that bag. Fill
Look
that
at
up.
this.
Beautiful.
Fill that up
I mean, it's almost bigger than Ryan.
with a nice case of Goose Island.
Yeah. And as you can see, we got team colors. This is the Bears edition. The bottom of it is a map of, I think, Chicago, right? Yeah,
Chicago.
yeah.
Just look at that thing.
The lighting has like food, like
Look at
the
that thing
like the
right
food
there.
scene in Chicago, which is like pizza and hot
Right there.
dogs. And like it can be used in more than just a cooler. It's double insulated, so you can use it to travel too, or whatever. You take it on the golf course. I know a lot of people in here like to golf. I wouldn't be surprised if I see this out on the golf course with those guys next summer when we have all our golf outings. And again, it's the holiday season. It's a perfect gift for someone right now. If you're watching and you're not a Bears fan, they have 21 other teams represented. Also, if they're not a Bears fan, good for them. Built to show up in style to a party or repping around town. You can wipe down the inside if you want to use it as a gym bag as well. So it's great. It's easy to clean. It's the perfect gift, like I said. There's nothing better than this Varsity Cooler bag. Head over to varsitycoolers.us and use code CHGO at checkout for 10% off your order.
Think we get them to make us a CHGO bag?
That'd be sick. Or just
CHGO bag.
I would love a Cubs one.
Also, Cody, everyone, I did a poll on the blue laces or the black laces.
Yeah.
And 84% said blue.
All right.
So
I'm not surprised.
Out of the 7 people or
25.
Oh, 24 of the 25. Pretty good.
What was the line last week? Wash it down with a nice Varsity Cooler.
Yeah.
Isn't that what you said? Oh, yeah. You said, or no, it was Luke.
I did
Luke
it in
said
Nashville.
that
I
in
hadn't been looking
Nashville.
around, and I thought, well, maybe they're just cool, like wine coolers.
We've got him up to speed.
Big of
We
me
got
to
him
admit
up
it.
to speed.
Big of me to admit
Hey,
it.
we
Listen,
we hold ourselves accountable. We have integrity.
and you guys
here.
flowed right through that. You didn't throw me under the bus like you did today. That day, we just kind of transitioned beautifully into it.
As we're cracking up on the side.
Well, we could
trying
soak
not-
that bag in Goose Island.
Kevin, the chef Kevin says the Cubs could fit all 3 of the World Series championships in the bag. I don't know that I've seen the World Series trophy out at Wrigley. It's pretty big.
Oh, it's bigger than that bag.
It's bigger than this bag. So technically, I don't think so. But you can still fit a lot of stuff in here.
I don't even know if Chef Kevin's sarcasm would fit in that bag today. All right, so I know a lot of people have been asking for this. They've been clamoring. A lot of people around town. It doesn't matter where you go, whether it's West Loop or you go to Bucktown,
People
you go
are
up
clearly
to
talking about this.
Yep.
Wrigleyville, you go into Lakeview,
You can go on the south side.
you go on the south side. Everybody's asking, when is CHGO going to put out their missed out on lineup? They're missed
Absolutely.
out on players lineup. When are they going to finally put that out? Well, we have finally done it.
It's just like the Thanksgiving draft. Like everyone was clamoring
Right.
for it.
Which
Now
I won,
people are clamoring
obviously.
for this.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Big of us to do this, considering I had to go to therapy before doing this.
Right.
And now I'm going to have to do therapy again after we do this.
All I did was throw out the idea, who have the Cubs missed out on, and how much better is that lineup than the current Cubs lineup? Now, granted, this lineup's going to be much more expensive than the current Cubs lineup. There's no question about that.
God.
But this is just in the last 4 or 5 years, right? Yeah. Of players that were
like that,
available either via trade, I think one, or via free agency, right? Mm-hmm. That the Cubs could have put out the biggest offer and maybe reeled in these guys. Now, maybe they wouldn't have got all of them, but some of these guys on the list, you look at them and go, man, he'd have been a pretty good fit. The missed out on lineup players that could have been Cubs in recent history. Sean Murphy at catcher. Would you have liked that deal last offseason?
Well, yeah. I mean, Jan Gomes
talked
turned out
about
to
it,
be
yeah.
great, but
He did,
Sean
but you
Murphy
wouldn't
is
mind
young,
Murphy moving forward.
controllable. Would have been great, and the Braves basically got him for
Yeah,
nothing.
I do think Miguel Amaya
Edison.
coming up and showing he could still be the future at
Sure.
catcher for him.
He would've been-
softens that blow a little bit.
Probably would have been in the
It's not
trade
the
going
worst.
the other way.
It's not the worst thing that they missed.
No,
out
it
on.
isn't. Now, I would agree that the biggest one they missed on based on price and everything, Bryce Harper could have been their first baseman.
Or at the time when they signed him, their
The right
outfielder.
fielder, right?
Oh, I don't care where they put him. Bryce Harper could have been on the Cubs.
Yeah.
And it could have been a great deal. Now, second base, we had choices, right? We could have put Mookie Betts there. We had Marcus Semien, the former White Sox guy. He got a lot of money. I don't know if I'm the most
It's
mad
in the
about
MVP
him.
race this year.
Yeah, although I don't know of a lot of the names on there, he's definitely not top 3 for me. And I'm angry that they didn't spend the money to go get him.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, I'm not. But it is to fill in this lineup.
Oh, Freddie Freeman. Somebody says Freddie Freeman.
Freddie Freeman's a good one too.
How about trading for Arenado?
Well, yeah. Goldschmidt.
Freddie Freeman's good.
Arenado, Goldschmidt,
Oh, the
Freeman.
Arenado
Anybody else you
one
want to?
is-
Anybody else? Boy, now you're really making.
I'm
Cody.
literally scarred by the Arenado.
Wait,
trade.
yeah, okay,
I'll
wait.
always be scarred by that.
Can you bring that back
Godfather.
up? What was that? What was
Yeah,
the
let's
rest
see
of
the
lineup look
let's see the list again. Godfather says, "Think of the money Ricketts
Machado.
saved, though." Manny Machado at third. That would solve their problems at third base.
I would say, though, with Semien and Seager, were they ever really in on those two guys when they were free agents?
No, they're just guys that were available.
They could have been cut.
I don't think they were in on Arenado or Goldschmidt either.
To me, they should have been in on.
Should have been.
Yeah.
In on
I think
Arenado,
Seager is one that they probably should have been in on. Well, that was a year before they signed Dansby, but you knew going into
Seager's
2022 that like Javi wasn't going to be there long term. You know, Javi was already traded. They went into 2022 with no shortstop.
Right?
Yeah,
I think that was by design though. Like they weren't going to go out and give up
right. And also like Seager probably wanted to go to a team that's projected to win.
So who's the
honorable? They didn't. They were pretty bad that next year, but that was
true.
Injuries.
They tried that.
Yeah.
Honorable mention then to Carlos Correa, Nolan Arenado,
sure, I think
Paul Goldschmidt, and
excuse me.
Xander Bogaerts.
Yeah.
Didn't make the list. Put him on the list. The shortstop one I don't care because I think they got shortstop right at a good deal.
Yeah.
Now Mookie Betts would be better in right, and Aaron Judge would be great in center field, but I don't think they're in on that. Kyle Schwarber, they could have righted their mistake.
Sorry.
I think we got to end the show.
Help me out, Law. Thank you.
Move to
wrap it up.
We'll move to this side of the chair. I think we've talked about the Schwarber one. Like that's the, not giving him or non-tendering him after 2020, like just letting him go. Because it was going to be like 8 million, 10 million, something like that for Schwarber for that year for 21. That's one of those where you're like, when we look back at mistakes or not, bad decisions by this front office over the last however many years, like the trades in 21, I think we can say here now, like they made the right decisions with some of those guys. But to just non-tender Schwarber, not even give him a chance in 21, I think we look back on that one and say that was a bad decision because he was an all-star the next year. He was an all-star in 21. He was an all-star in 22. And was he an all-star this year?
He was still available after they did that. You still could have brought him back. Now, Godfather says where are the pitchers that he passed up to. Now, he didn't.
Garrett Cole.
He didn't pass on Ohtani, but we put Ohtani in as DH/pitcher.
Yeah.
Obviously, there are pitchers that they.
Verlander.
Well, the Verlander one back when he wanted to become a Cub obviously was a huge trade. That was a trade, was a huge mistake. I wasn't even going back that far though.
Yeah, it's true.
He was a free agent though, like last offseason. I know he wasn't very good with the Mets, but then he was pretty good with the Astros. He got back to what he does with the Astros.
I didn't see the name. Somebody in the chat said the worst player on this list is better than the best player currently on the Cubs. That hurts.
Who's the best player on the Cubs
Probably
right now?
Dansby.
Based off like what they've done over
your
their
current
career.
player. You don't have Bellinger. Bellinger would have been the best player last year. Dansby or Nico. Wouldn't that have to
Seiya?
be? Well, Justin Steele. You could say Justin Steele was probably at the peak, but they won Gold Gloves.
Yeah.
It's got to be one of those three. Best player on the Cubs?
I'd say it's probably go Dansby with it.
I'd say Dansby.
Current Cubs. Of course, Sarah would go Dansby, yeah.
Suzuki definitely has the potential to be on that best.
Could be on that list, but if right now the way the roster sits today, if you had to say best player on the Cubs, you'd probably say Dansby, Swanson, or Justin Steele.
Yeah. Who's proven more?
Which tells us, as we've talked about pretty much every day since the season ended, they have to improve. Like I don't think we can sit here in April and Dansby Swanson's still the best player on the Cubs and say they've done anything. Like that shouldn't be, because as great as Dansby, the defense, obviously, the leadership, the bat when it's on, as good as he can be, he's never been. I mean, with Atlanta, he was never the best player on those teams, and those teams were good every year. They won the World Series even without Acuna, right? So there were really, really good players too. But Dansby thrived with Atlanta, and he wasn't the best player on those teams. He had a great year last year, but he wasn't even the best player on the Cubs last year. I think we could say that was Cody Bellinger. So for the Cubs to be in a better position next year, we can't be sitting here on opening day with saying I just don't think we can say Dansby is the best player on this team, and it's also a step up from where it was in 2023. I mean, you
can say it right now. You just don't want to be saying it when you get to spring training.
It's give it 4 months from now, if we're still sitting here saying if we're saying that Dansby Swanson is the best player on the Cubs, and on opening day. But at that point, if we're still saying that, we can't also say this team is more improved than 2023. Right.
Agreed. I mean,
the way I look at it,
Steele has an opportunity to be that guy. I would just say if I went head to head, Steele versus Dansby, Dansby's body of work, even when he wasn't on the Cubs, is bigger than Steele's. Now, if Steele comes back and does it 2 years in a row, he starts to build a case, because I would say Steele as a pitcher was maybe even more elite than Dansby was as a shortstop, if that's fair. Last season, it's close. I still would say Bellinger was the most valuable guy on the team last year, which is why he's priority number one now.
Right.
But it's close.
Related to the lineup, the guy that I obviously Arenado would have been a guy. He's not on this list, but to me, Mookie Betts is the one that hurts me the most, and it would have been via trade.
That's
and the reason being is the Red Sox they got Alex Verdugo and a prospect, a top prospect from the Dodgers that wasn't good. They DFA'd him last year. The Cubs I know the farm system wasn't nearly as good as it is now when Mookie Betts was in that walk year or whatever, but they just didn't want to pay the guy. You know what I mean? So they didn't really have a lot of leverage. I feel like the Cubs could have easily been in those conversations, man.
Yeah, but I don't know. Did they have, like you said, did they have the
They
prospect
might not have had the prospects then.
The
They
prospect
would
capital?
now, but they didn't then maybe.
Yeah. I mean, it's all hindsight, right? But to me, that's the one that hurts a lot more than any of the other ones, just because he's so good, man.
Gary says, why are you not talking about Matt Olson? Well, because we had Bryce Harper in at first base. Yeah.
Well, Matt Olson's another good example,
guy,
too.
Well, sure, he's a good example, but if I had to put somebody there, I would put Bryce Harper.
Matt Olson was, he was in the MVP race last year.
We could put him in. We could put him in
Take half the Braves
honorable
roster.
mention, along with Correa and
Definitely.
Bogarts.
I would think so. He's another guy that could. I don't remember if the Cubs were ever even in the rumor mill when Olson or with Olson, but he would have obviously been a great addition to this team.
Right.
Obviously, the point of the graphic is the Cubs missed out on some people.
And to spin zone it, not that I'm trying to spin zone it, but the spin zone to me now is over the next 5 years, they better not be missing out on this many guys, because they should be turning the corner if they improve the roster this year and they have prospects coming up. And, they should be a better team next year if they figure things out. I know everyone in the chat every single day this entire offseason have just been they come in here to vent, and, I get it. We're here to vent too. With their frustration with the lack of anything to this point, and it deserves question. I'm not saying you guys complaining is not right, because I'm sitting at home on my couch wondering what the hell we're doing but like Ryan said, if we're going into opening day with Dansby Swanson as the best player on this team, I might be even worse than I've been the last 2 years. All right,
Which I don't want.
Yeah, I know no one wants that. I don't want to be that. I will be.
We don't want
I'll
that.
be
So
worse.
let's make the New Year's resolution now.
Yeah. So and like I said yesterday when Luke was asking me, is it time to panic? And I'm not panicking yet, because it's just I refuse to believe that they're going to go into Cubs convention with nothing, with nothing. They're not going to do that. So TikTok, Jed, get to work.
Yeah, you don't want to miss out again, just like we don't want you to miss out on the best sports gear around. Hoodies, shoes, signs, bobbleheads, everything in between. It's at FOCO. And it is the holiday season. If you're looking for gifts this holiday season, they've got Aloha shirts, straw hats, polos, bags, everything you need for a game. Check out our beautiful set decorations. You see that Hayden Wesneski bobblehead? Not going to find it anywhere else. FOCO has it. They donated some of these beauties right to our set, and we appreciate it. Check out FOCO.com or click the link in description below. For all non-presale items, use the promo code CHGO for 10% off.
Oh, yeah.
Barb says, no, Cody is a raging bull. He'll hit people and trash the studio.
Yeah,
That's
he'll
Draymond
smash
Green.
things.
That's Draymond. He is not Draymond Green.
I'm not Draymond Green.
He's
And
more
also,
gentle than Draymond.
Cody Draymond.
I also I'm convinced that Barb actually believes this. I don't think this is part of her bit. I'm not friends with Jed Hoyer. All right, I don't have conversations with Jed Hoyer, Barb. And if I did, I would be telling him yo, bro, you need to do something, because all these people in our YouTube chat are complaining about you every day.
And he would have said, yo, bro.
I would have. That's how I talk to people. All right. That's how I DM'd Tony Campana before he went to Tennessee.
Bro.
I was like, yo, bro, I'm going to be in Knoxville later that week.
Did you meet up with Campana?
I did not, but I did DM him, and he told me it was going to Gatlinburg with his wife for their anniversary. So I tried. I did try to meet up with Tony Campana when I was in Tennessee.
He's racing people in parking lots still? I think he's being like, hey, 50-yard dash, let's go. 100 meters.
He'd beat them all. He was the fastest man alive, bro.
Tony Campana.
One career homer
inside
the Parker.
Full circle, back to the Sammy thing. After Sammy gets in, Tony Campana next.
Oh, brother.
There you go.
Cubs Hall of Fame.
He'd get my
next generation of Cubs Hall of Fame candidates.
He would get my vote. After Sosa. So with how that works, is it with that decade? So would like Aramis Ramirez and the Derek Lees of the world?
Yeah, I don't know who else they vote. I don't know who they voted on. I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah.
There should be some good ones.
I think those
coming.
two belong in as well.
I think there's some obvious ones coming, right?
Yeah. You know, Carlos Zambrano.
How many inside the park home runs have been hit at Wrigley Field?
Anyways, you find that out and bring it to us on Monday when we do the next live show here. Brendan and Corey will be here tomorrow. Maybe we get Danny Rocket play us out here at the end here when we say goodbye.
One more
Sarah,
time.
do you think we knew that? Thanks to everybody that joined in the live chat. I see only 41 thumbs up. After a show like this, that's disgraceful. Please.
Yeah, please.
I don't like to be mean. I don't like to be mean to the live chat, but if you join the live chat and you haven't hit that thumbs up, I'm a little disappointed. We brought you live music, taped, but live. And we brought you Sammy. We brought you Shohei Ohtani. We brought you Cody's new shoes. What else could you ask for?
We didn't bring anyone Shohei Ohtani.
Really, what else could you ask for? Thanks for checking out the CHGO Cubs podcast. Again, Corey and Brendan, 1:20 tomorrow that podcast comes out. Then we're back live on Monday. Or if there's breaking news, say Bellinger signs,
we'll
be here right away this weekend. We'll jump in with the breaking news podcast. We're up to 45 thumbs up. Thank you.
I hope everyone enjoyed the Jorge Alfaro 2-minute podcast I did myself last night.
Could end up in the Cubs Hall of Fame someday. We don't know.
At the very least, he's a Cubs legend.
That's right. Until then, until Monday, fly the W. Here's Danny Rocket.
This one goes out to the entire crew at CHGO. Happy Christmas. CHGO, man, talking sports in Chicago. It's a real good time here with Luke and Ryan and Cody Delmendo. CHGO, man, doing podcasts every day.
We all silly like the mayor.